Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome back. Yep, it's another day. I think we're a bit more sleepier compared to yesterday. So today we'll do a slow video probably. So what did we do yesterday? Helldivers 2 and Ramen Mad God. Unfortunately, the Ramen Mad God mod was like no one was saying anything. No face cam, no voice. But the gameplay itself was pretty good. A lot of white bags. And Helldivers 2 was actually challenging. So yeah, I wasn't too bad yesterday. So today is gonna be a lot of silent stuff again. Need to find some kind of filler. I never understood that music video. This is like music video where it's like just like this bride in a wedding dress runs away and it goes to a room of druggies and they just start doing some weird ass ritual stuff. Whatever. Alright, there's nothing else to really talk about today. The plans are pretty simple, right? This, food, dips, Alpha regime, then unknown. Not sure what I'm gonna do there. Can't stream. I can make silent VODs, but that's kind of like the only thing I can really do. But when it comes to Roman Mad God, figured out some few things. So Knight is still the GOAT, right? He pretty much can do anything in the Godlands. Run around, run past everything, take like no damage. Especially after that shield we have. Our Knight's got like 80 something defense. And a shot that is like 100 is like 37 now. So yeah. Only problem with the Knight is that some bosses are way too much for the Knight could even get close. When it comes to like mini dungeons, the Knight's pretty good. Then when it comes to Wizard and Bard, they both are pretty much the same playstyle. Both use high ground and shoot. Glass cannons, squishy but lots of damage. Druids, slightly more safer. Less DPS but safer. And range. Oh yeah, there's the space game we should play. That Starfield. Should I probably download it? You know, besides that, there's nothing really else to say. Everything else is pretty much standard, you know? The story today is kind of no idea. All I know is it's like raining outside, and that's about it. I'm not really sure what kind of filler games there are today. Because if I can't talk, I mean I can show my face again, but I just can't talk. But I don't know. I think Ramen Mad God's chiller with my voice, because then I can react to bags and stuff. So I'm pretty much locked in as well. However, requires some kind of commentary. So they're not bad, but I tested them out when it comes to VODs and nothing really happened. But like compared to like Overwatch is like a decent filler game. I don't have to say anything and it's pretty good. I don't know. I guess we just probably go to like story crafting or something. Can't think of anything else. Besides that though, everything else is still pretty much normal. Everything's still compounding like it should. There's not really any upgrades needed. There is the only one thing that's been etching my mind, and it's that Razor Huntsman Mini. I already have one, by the way. I've got the purple one, but it kind of died because of my own modifications, and I still got like two more keyboards. I still got the Black Widow Chroma. No, Black Widow Maker. Yeah. Green switches, they're super big. It's massive, it's got like the number pads as well. And I've also got this like membrane one that came with the PC, I think. Or it came with something. And I've also got that Amazon one I have right now that I'm using. I don't know. There's not really any needs. Zero needs. I guess today is just gonna be like a story video. Right, well, the usual is complete. Yeah, didn't really say much today. But that's okay. Alright, well, appreciate it. I guess we'll see you in the next segment.
Yo, what's good, guys? Welcome back. Hey, look, I'm using my old Razer mouse. This is the Razer Oribus. Because someone else took my Death Adder. The Razer Ouroboros. It used to be wireless, but the wireless is doo-doo, so we're going to be using it wired. I've also brought out my old Huntsman Mini. I was actually gonna plan to buy the... Oh, there goes the cable. I was gonna buy the linear one, but this is what we have right now. Only thing is that this thing's got like a lot of mods inside, and it's like puffed up and stuff. It's like modded. Hold on. Bro, I literally left it. The cable fell down. So anyways, yeah, let's go continue today's story video, right? Story 2, restart. Here we go. Oh, there's no audio wheel on this.
Several years back, one of my best friends, Riley, worked here in town as something called a location manager, or location producer. What that means is that he would scout local areas for directors who would be shooting movies here. At the time, our small town was trying to entice filmmakers to come here and shoot movies for cheap. During that time, some no-name director wanted to come here and shoot a horror movie since the area looked like every location from every Stephen King novel. When the director came to visit the town, Riley took him all around and showed him this one house, which, according to local lore, is supposed to be cursed or haunted. Of course, nobody from the century actually believed that, but it was fun that our town had its own little Amityville horror campfire tale. When the director found out, he became obsessed with this house, and practically insisted on filming some of his scenes in there. Riley wasn't as much of a skeptic as most of us are, so he was a little uneasy about trying to get access to the house. But ultimately, he didn't want to let the director down. So the next day, Riley tracked down whoever owned the property and asked if they could use the house for several scenes they wanted to film. Riley said the owner was some creepy old guy who smelled like death. According to Riley, this guy gave him a really bad feeling. Riley was sure that the guy was going to put up a fight about using the house, but he said he agreed to let them use it with almost no fight back. The director was pumped, and they continued to work on the pre-production of the film. That night, a few of the locals who were working on the pre-production aspects of the film decided to take Riley out to celebrate. Apparently, this was the last location they needed to lock down before setting up a schedule to record. He didn't want to go alone, so he dragged me with him. Those film crew people sure knew how to party. We started hopping from bar to bar, and we were feeling good. There was a woman there with us partying. I don't know if she was a producer or what her role on the film was. All I know is that she was working on the film in some capacity. Anyway, I was starting to vibe with her throughout the night. Her name was Jade. A little after 1 in the morning, Jade suggested to the group of us, which at this point was 6 people, that we go to the allegedly haunted house and check it out. Riley immediately shot it down. Since I didn't have anything to lose, and I was trying to impress this girl, I basically teamed up with her and tried to get the group on board with the idea. When everyone else got on board, Riley finally caved in and agreed to join us. Jade said that we would have the perfect excuse if we got caught. We could just say that we were doing some pre-production work at night, and knowing that the house is abandoned, we figured it would be less disruptive to the neighborhood doing it then. It sounded great to me, but that's not how this type of situation works. We would still need approval from the owner to enter the property, and Riley was worried that if we got caught, we would lose permission to use the house. It was a tense drive to the house. I could tell Riley was upset, and I felt like a jerk that I didn't back him up. When we got there, I came to my senses for a brief moment and tried to get the group to reconsider going into the house. Jade started to call me a coward in a flirtatious way, and my efforts to get them to reconsider evaporated right away. One of the guys tried to open the door, and surprisingly, it was unlocked. The 6 of us walked in quietly. It was extremely cold in there. It wasn't exactly warm outside, but it was noticeably colder inside the house for some reason. Everyone we were with looked fascinated, like they were looking at buried treasure, except for Riley, who looked like he was going to be sick. He kept complaining about the smell, but none of us smelled anything. We didn't walk very far. The front door led to mostly empty living room. We were all still standing in that room, just using our phones as a flashlight, when we heard movement coming from upstairs. I'm well aware that houses like this make all sorts of crazy noises since everything is wooden and old. But this noise we heard upstairs was unmistakably footsteps. It was clearly the pattering of steps going from one side of the room to the other. We all stood completely still. Jade insisted that we check it out. Riley put his foot down and he said he was leaving. The other guys in the group also didn't want any part of the confrontation, so they all went outside with Riley. Unfortunately, I couldn't let Jade go upstairs alone. Even though I wanted nothing to do with whoever may be running around up there, we quietly snuck up the stairs, which were in the back of the house. Right next to the stairs was a door. I tried to open it just to see what was behind it, and it was locked. I found it incredibly weird that this door was locked, but the front door was open. When Jane started to go upstairs, I followed closely behind her. I noticed when we were on the stairs that the footsteps had stopped. We were tiptoeing as quietly as we could. When we got upstairs, it was eerily quiet up there. No sounds at all. We took a few steps forward down the hall, and I expected that at any moment someone was going to run at me, but nothing ever happened. I was starting to think that this woman, Jade, whom I just met, had some kind of death wish because she decided to shout into the darkness if anybody was there. I almost fainted when she did this, but no response. We looked in all the rooms upstairs, and there wasn't anybody in any of the rooms. I won't lie, I was freaked out. We clearly heard movement upstairs, but there was clearly nobody up there. We started going downstairs, and Jade made a joke about how she was sad that we didn't get to see a ghost. When we got to the first floor, the door that was next to the staircase that had just been locked a few minutes ago was now randomly opened. I don't just mean unlocked, I mean the door was legitimately wide open. I looked at the open door and noticed that it led to a pitch black basement. Jade looked terrified for the first time since we entered the house. Instead of being scared, I was starting to think that this was a practical joke. It just seemed so unbelievable. I attempted to go into the basement, and Jade grabbed my hand and begged me not to. I admit I was being ignorant here. I was blatantly ignoring her because I was sure I was being messed with. I went downstairs, and it was even colder down there than the rest of the house, which made sense to me since this was the basement after all. It was so dark down there, and it smelled horrible. I figured the smell was some kind of backed up sewage. I was trying to use my cell phone flashlight, but it was barely doing anything. As I was whipping my phone around the room, I thought I saw something move near some boxes on the floor. It made me jump just out of sheer shock, but I instantly decided in my head that it was just the shadows from my flashlight that freaked me out. I started walking over to the boxes to investigate it myself. While I was walking over, I started to think about the possibility of someone being over there, maybe a homeless person, and I didn't want any trouble. I know homeless people can be harmless, but where I live, they're usually dangerous, and I was not equipped in any way to defend myself. When I was a few feet away from the boxes, I clearly saw a shadow get up from behind the boxes and run over to the other side of the room. It was so fast and so dark that I couldn't see anything or make out any details besides just the shadow from my phone light. I felt the wind hit me in the face when he rushed by me. I had no idea what this was, and I didn't want to find out. I ran over to the stairs and I announced to whatever was down there that I was leaving and that I was sorry for intruding. just before turning and running up the stairs, I heard a whisper from the basement say to me, "Don't leave just yet." I paused for a second and then freaked out and ran out of the basement. Jade was still standing there at the top of the stairs. She heard the whisper as well and was hysterical. We ran out of the house and Riley was still outside with the other guys. We got into the car and started driving away. I told them what happened, and they looked terrified. I still wasn't sure if somehow these guys were messing with me. However, the way they were all acting made me feel like they weren't messing with me. Joke or not, this night messed up Riley. He didn't want anything to do with that house. The next day, he called the director and told them that he couldn't film there for safety reasons. He made up some excuse about the house just not being safe to film, and the cast and crew could get hurt working inside there. The director was upset but gave up fighting after a while. When Riley told the owner of the property that they weren't shooting there anymore, the man just laughed and thanked Riley for his consideration. A few months later, the project fell through and they didn't even shoot that specific movie here. Apparently the director wanted a ridiculous amount of money to fund the movie, and it just wasn't possible. Whenever I relive that night, I still can't believe what I witnessed.
I mean, one, you went into a random house. I was like half paying attention, to be honest. You just went into a random person's house. Why? The person, yeah. Like, yeah. You know what I mean? Also, depends on what kind of movie director it is, because I'm pretty sure movie directors are rich enough to just, you know, buy it, you know. Well, Legit, I appreciate it. That's kind of boring. I'm gonna try to set up a duo stream now. Also, yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to get the Razer keyboard, the other one, the version 2, but maybe should I do a? I kind of want to get this keyboard though. Maybe because I just have this. I mean, no, it's not a need though. But it's new. No, it's not. It's actually like 2 years old. This one. I don't really. I play the controller and her stuff. Whatever. Alright, Legit, I appreciate it, alright? Damn, that was a white screen. Till next time. That was so boring. Sorry.